I'm sorry?
Did you do that in the year VDI?
In the year VDI? I don't follow. Sorry. Let me get back on track here. I'll make you pay for that later. No, just joking. Show of hands, who has VDI in their environment today? Okay. Show of hands, who's researching VDI? Okay. Those of you who have VDI, who is using thin clients? Okay, very good. So when I started the evaluation of VDI, I wanted to have a solution down to the end user level where I could deliver their desktop as quickly as possible. And that also included the actual device itself. Yes, we started on our VDI deployment by refreshing white boxes and putting the soft client to get users to connect, but I knew ultimately I wanted to go to a thin client model. So that way I didn't have to worry about the management and the overhead of a typical Windows box that sat at the desk. So with that, as I was researching VMware's VDI offering, I came across the PCRVP protocol written by Teradici. And for those of you who are on VDI, you probably know about that Teradici protocol. And I absolutely became enamored with that. So once I learned about that, I obviously needed to learn about the devices that supported it. Obviously there was the soft client, but then I came across these things called zero clients. And again, was really excited about the opportunity to be able to put desktops out to users in a very quick fashion. So typically today our numbers are from the time we get a user request from HR to the time we can actually deploy their desktop. We're sitting about 10 minutes right now. Now I work in a very small organization, so new users don't come very often, but when they do, I can do them in 10 minutes, and that gets me kind of excited. Because if there's an issue, I can just blow it away and do it over again. Now when we add new desktops, before it was a 2 to 3 hour provisioning process. But now with these thin clients, and providing you have the constructs in place, I can literally take a thin client out of the box and have it in business within about the same amount of time. So while I'm spinning up this new VM with policies and Active Directory group policies and permissions and security rights and making sure that the user has all their final apps, I'm literally taking a new thin client out of the box, having one of my techs go walk it to that new desk, drop it off, and by the time that VM is spun up, that new thin client is provisioned and ready to accept a user to log in. Obviously, there are several constructs that need to be in place to make that possible, but it kind of goes to show you, again, another level of automation. We can do tons of automation and great things within the virtualized environment. I wanted to continue that same stride on the endpoint side as well. So what you need for that ultimately, if you're going to go down the PCRVP path, is you need a management console. And Teradici, the developers of this PCRVP protocol, developed that management console. So you deploy that again as a VM, you spin that unit up, you put in some basic configuration information, you go to your DNS and you put in some DNS service records, so that way when these thin clients land on your network, receive a DHCP request, they do a DNS lookup, they find the management console, they apply the policy appropriate for that subnet in my case, and now they're configured. So these thin clients get configured, one, with a policy that I want them to have based on the subnet or the user type that's logging in. If they're behind in firmware, which they typically are when you get them from the manufacturer, I can immediately push out a firmware update to them as well. So again, that box to business, literally taking it out of the box in the user's hands and working no more than about 10 minutes. To me, that's really exciting because again, I can do these things in the virtualization space and I'm now carrying that over to the physical space because you still need a device for somebody to log into. So unfortunately, I don't get to do this a lot because again, we don't have a high turnover in our environment, but when we do, we have those capabilities. Again, not possible unless using that PCRVP protocol. Obviously, thin client manufacturers out there all have their management console and their solution, but when you kind of go down that PCRVP path, I highly recommend looking at the management console from Teradici. And if you haven't gotten into it, the PCRVP protocol is very friendly from an administrative perspective. The ability to do that USB virtualization, so literally plugging in any device. I only have maybe one device in our entire environment that is not compatible, and it's a check deposit system. So they opted to just use their iPhones now to deposit company checks. So that kind of solved itself. But I haven't found a printer, a scanner, or other USB input device that hasn't worked with this PCRVP protocol. And we're even running that over in our European office as well. So literally I ship on container when we send out product to our European office. They install a PCRVP client, and they get provision based on our systems back in California. Again, those constructs need to be in place, but it goes to show you, you don't have to spend a lot of time still at that endpoint. You can take advantage of automation at those endpoints as well. So again, that journey was very quick for me to come to the conclusion that this is the solution for me and our organization for years to come. If you haven't worked with thin clients before, you know that your life cycle of the thin client's going to last a lot longer than a white box under the desk. So I probably have some thin clients now in place for about 5 to 6 years. I plan to run those for a few more years as long as the manufacturer continues supporting firmware release updates for them. So a few little tidbits out there that you can go and address. I'll take a few questions, but that was literally my journey, just trying to find a thin client that I could literally take out of the box, put on the desk, and not have to worry about it. And then later on push updates through a management console. So with that, that was my 5-minute journey to VDI box to business. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll take any questions.